This is going to be a tough decision for any young officer to make. And he's got a choice. On one end, he's got his sacred oath that he wants to follow. He wants to, and it just kills him when he doesn't follow that oath. It will kill him, it will finish him off if he breaks that oath. And on the other hand, especially if that young officer has a family and kids, he's got his career sitting right in someone else's hands. And if you do not play along, then you're going to be punished, and that's going to be the end of your career, okay? Depending on how desperate the upper police management is to keep you silent.
Tupac knew if he was going to be killed, he knew it was going to be somebody from the death row organization.
Tupac kind of falls into my left arm.
A music icon killed in our streets.
I'm asking what happened, who shot you?
Fox 5 News investigates theories of revenge, corruption, and rap's most powerful.
It leads back to
Who Killed Tupac? Thursday on Fox 5 News at 10.
Las Vegas, Nevada. The most popular hip-hop star on the planet, Tupac Shakur, bleeds out in a BMW, victim of a drive-by shooting. 6 months later, rival rapper Biggie Smalls is brutally gunned down on the streets of LA in an eerily similar fashion. Both murders are forever linked and currently unsolved. Who killed Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls?
They'd have killed him right in front of the Pope.
Some say they were murdered by their closest allies.
They put a hit out on Pac for $1 million.
Were they truly victims of an East Coast, West Coast rap rivalry? Or was that just a cover for something more sinister?
guns, drugs, money. This is a really bad formula here.
Anybody that ever put their hands on me, I'll tell you, might not get you that day, but you're going to get got.
Well, Reggie Wright is taboo, you know, and he's part of it.
The Compton killings that occurred thereafter after Tupac was shot was just a diversion to make, you know, general public, law enforcement believe it was a blood crip thing. When indeed, I mean, it was all orchestrated.
I have never been the type of guy that go and put any type of work, would never get no car and do nothing. I'm a reactor. I'm one that with you and that's going to react to things that happens. But yeah, I don't believe in being spontaneous at all. And so that's what I mean when I say I will orchestrate something.
Reggie Wright Jr., the head of security for Right Way Security and Death Row, organized the personnel to plan the hit, and I believe police officers were a big part of the hit.
You know, if I want somebody to get slapped or something like that, we're going to put a plan together. You'll never get me being emotional like a bitch and spontaneous and taking penitentiary chances. No. You probably can slap me. And I always said, you slap me, you might get away with slapping me right then. But trust me, you're going to pay for that slap one day. And that's what I mean by that.
Now we need to check out another part of Michael Carlin's theory. Reggie Wright Jr. and the allegedly dirty cops who he and Suge Knight was bringing into the inner circle of death row.
Stay away from Reggie Wright Jr.
I'm putting cases on some of them guys, so.
He is working with the feds.
Where are Biggie and Tupac?
As Denzel Washington said, I'm putting cases on.
You got a lot to cover up, y'all.
Freudian slip.
You got a lot to cover up.
We spoke to two head investigators on Tupac's murder. Here are their theories of the event.
I won't deny it, I'm a straight ride.
September 7th, 1996, Tupac Shakur, along with his associates from Death Row Records, are leaving a Mike Tyson fight at the MGM Hotel and Casino when they see Orlando Anderson, a known Southside Crip from Los Angeles. In this video from inside the MGM, Shakur, along with Suge Knight, can be seen kicking and stomping Anderson. Just after 11 p.m., Tupac, Suge Knight, and the rest of their entourage of about 6 cars were headed to a club. They were stopped here at the intersection of Koval and Flamingo. A white Cadillac pulled up alongside Knight's BMW and opened fire. Shakur was sitting in the passenger side and was hit multiple times. This is the last photo taken of Shakur the night of the shooting. He died 5 days later at UMC at the age of 25. 6 months later in Los Angeles, East Coast rapper Christopher Wallace, otherwise known as Notorious B.I.G., is gunned down leaving a party. LAPD detective Russell Poole is assigned the case and found the murder of Shakur and Wallace were connected.
Russell Poole was investigating this crime, and it kept leading to off-duty police officers. And he kept being told by management at the LA, hey, stop, you're investigating.
Poole was eventually taken off the case. He quit the force and sued the LAPD. Author Michael Carlin helped Poole publish multiple books about his findings.
I'm just calling to tell you, look over your shoulder.
And says Poole never stopped working on the murders.
Dave Demersion is the senior ADA at the district attorney's office. We started having these meetings, and Dave was like, I'm still just not interested, not feeling this case. We doubled our efforts. We came up with 45 Tupac murder facts. We handed that to him, and finally he said, I am very interested in this case now.
In September 2015, 19 years after Shakur's murder, Poole scores a meeting with investigators.
A man takes 2 billion heartbeats, and the last 2,000 of his heartbeats are in a meeting with the sheriffs talking about sheriff corruption, and he passes away in the meeting. I mean, it defies logic.
Carlin says Poole had uncovered evidence that those inside Death Row Records planned to kill Suge Knight to take over the label. Shakur was also a target because, according to Poole, he was planning to leave the label and take hundreds of unreleased songs with him. FBI documents and former LAPD officers confirmed Death Row Records employed multiple officers who worked security.
The motive is Death Row Records. Death Row Records was worth $500 million. And the reality is, cops were involved in the murder of Tupac. The reason this hasn't been solved is because it leads back to cops.
Fox 5 tried to contact the former Compton police officer who took over Death Row Records after the murder. He did not respond.
Profile unsolved cases
Right here in Las Vegas. Exactly.
Incredible. Great work, Cindy.
Yes, Cindy. Thank you.
Several informants told investigators the white Cadillac used in the shooting of Tupac was rented. However, police were never able to track down the car. We also reached out to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. They told us they couldn't comment because the investigation into the death of Tupac Shakur is still ongoing. Greg Kading, the LAPD officer we spoke to for this piece, has published a book and has a documentary about his findings. He was taken off the investigation after an internal review found him guilty of altering witness statements.
And you are on their side. You're buddies with all of them, and you're protecting them. And why
You're
can't
right.
there just be
You're
an
absolutely
investigation?
right. Greg, what were you doing in 1996? Wait a second. Are we really going to get into, what were you doing the night of Tupac Shakur's murder?
So, guys.
What's going on?
Greg Kading is out. His lawyer won't let him do it, so Greg Kading is out. His lawyer won't let him do it, so...
Hey, Greg, where were you the night Tupac Shakur was murdered?
I have absolutely no idea.
We've been waiting around for Kading all day, and
and now
he's not
he's a
coming.
no-show.
Really, I wanted to talk to him because there's so much to ask him.
Yeah.
Greg Kading has no credibility on this subject matter. He became a task force member on the Biggie case 10 years after the fact. Kading left the LAPD in disgrace for his false testimony on a federal murder and racketeering case, United States versus George Toros Ramos, CR 06-656A SV W. Guilty verdicts were overturned in part due to Kading's testimony. He said LAPD cleared him of those charges, but that is not entirely true. Kading also had some help writing his book from disgraced LA Times reporter Chuck Phillips. Kading forget there were actual eyewitnesses to the Biggie killing. He spends a lot of time talking about things he knows nothing about. This is a desperate attempt for Kading to salvage his reputation. Suge Knight is a suspect, but not for the reasons Kading talks about. In closing, Kading never attempted to interview me regarding the Biggie investigation. He makes a lot of false statements about me and my part in the investigation. Retired LAPD homicide detective Russell Poole.
I used a racial term. Like you said, I'm not a racist.
Reggie Wright Jr., the head of security for Right Way Security and Death Row, organized the personnel to plan the hit, and I believe police officers were a big part of the hit.
He documented evidence that the CIA participated in cocaine distribution to Los Angeles gangs.
We've got all the DEA undercover tapes, we've got the FBI reports, we've got the court records, and they're all posted for people to see.
I, too, was deeply disturbed by the allegations as reported in the San Jose Mercury News in August of 1996, of the Central Intelligence Agency's involvement in the introduction, financing, and distribution of crack cocaine
to Los Angeles gangs.
I will tell you, Director Deutsch, as a former Los Angeles police narcotics detective, that the agency has dealt drugs throughout this country for a long time.
It was selling cocaine in Los Angeles for the most part, but in other areas of the country as well, to the gangs, to the Crips and Bloods.
Castillo had documented that the CIA directed this drug trafficking operation out of 2 hangars using Contra Supply Network as a route for shipping drugs into the United States.
So I got up and I said in Spanish to the comandantes, and they had some of their people from the Attorney General's office. I said, we think that all of you are corrupt. And they just looked at me. And I said in Spanish, and you think that all of us are stupid. And they began laughing. Then the hands started going up. Yeah, and we've got more dead Mexican soldiers and dead Mexican policemen, good honest ones, than you do. And we know who the crooks are in this room. But you don't know who the crooks are on your side. But we're not going to tell you unless you do something about it. That's how we began. And Mr. Avell is listening to beepers and things like that. He didn't know what to do.
Narcotics is a very dirty, dirty business. I've only recently become aware of a narcotics trafficking scheme that's been going on since the mid-90s, whereby the LVMPD, the LAPD, and the LASD are all complicit. They're all involved in it. It emanates out of Compton, California. Okay. Now, again, I'm just the messenger. How many people know this? I mean, I'm definitely not right up there in the food chain. I'm way down here. And I learn about this. It's because everybody else has got a gag order on them.
Director Deutsch, I will refer you to 3 specific agency operations known as Amadeus, Pegasus, and Watchtower. I have Watchtower documents heavily redacted by the agency. I was personally exposed to CIA operations and recruited by CIA personnel who attempted to recruit me.
And then Calderoni, without getting into another big story, told us how he laundered $6 million in one day through Caesar's Palace, legally. Because he said your president, Reagan, and Laxalt, the senator, exempted the biggest bank in America, which is called Las Vegas. So we bring the money there, they wash it, we give them a fee, and it goes to the banks in Switzerland. And what are you going to do about it?
Police corruption cannot exist. Cannot exist unless it is condoned and tolerated by upper police management.
The investigation was stymied by the chief of police, Bernard Park.
After the meeting, Mr. Ravel says, gentlemen, to all the FBI, what we just heard is classified top secret. And I laughed. I said, you cannot classify anything that does not pertain to the national security of a country. You can't. And you cannot classify that which is embarrassing. Oh no, this gentleman, this cannot leave this room. I said, we should publish this in all the newspapers so everybody knows how this, we've got people dying out here, and we're up snatching up half a ton of marijuana, and we're all initialing it and think it's all great, and we're all heroes, and the cars are going through with black tar heroin and cocaine. Said there's no war on drugs. We're just killing people. Because when we get to the big ones, you don't want to hear about it. The big banks, and how the Federal Reserve is involved in this. Oh, I think I have a meeting now. I said there's corruption on both sides, and they'll tell us who it is. Didn't you hear it? I think I've got to catch my plane now.
Now, for those of you who don't know, the intelligence section for the LVMPD are just nothing but a bunch of thugs that do whatever the sheriff wants them to do. Doesn't matter if it's illegal or legal or unethical or immoral. Doesn't matter. I know this because I had a good friend that was in the intelligence section, and he dissuaded me from putting in a transfer to go to the intelligence section because they committed crimes every day. And it's everything from illegal wiretaps to narcotics transactions to murder to rape. You name it, whatever crime that's in the Nevada Revised Statute, they did it. And they did it under the orders and protection of the sheriff.
Greg, what were you doing in 1996?
The investigation was stymied by the chief of police, Bernard Parks.
Happy heavenly birthday to Tupac Shakur. Today, 2025, it is the birthday of Tupac Shakur. And we know more now than we've ever known before about these murders. Keefe D got hemmed up, and a bunch of new information has come out. Suge Knight has gone on Piers Morgan, and he's talked again about the murders. And now we know way more than we've ever known before. And so today is Tupac Shakur's heavenly birthday. So all y'all go out there, pour out your liquor in honor of Tupac Shakur. And now I'm going to play something special for you in honor of the birth of the greatest rapper of all time, Tupac Shakur.
Just the facts. The facts of the matter is this. It's a guy named Reggie Wright Jr. who was over security. He didn't work directly for Death Row, but he had a security company called Right Way Security, who did security for Death Row with off-duty police officers or guys with a CCW. Everybody knows when we go to a fight in Vegas, we're going to be at the Tyson fight, or we're going to be at my club they call Club 662. You can go to that club and you'll see Mary J. Blige perform, Jodeci performs, Tupac performs, Snoop and the Dogg Pound, Andre. I mean, unbelievable talent in one place. That night was going to be Run DMC East Coast night. Reggie Wright Jr. told the security they can't carry firearms. The sad thing about that, Pac hated Reggie Wright Jr., so he had fired him before any of that. I don't know the right date, but I'm quite sure it was. It's paperwork that shows it. But the crazy thing about that, it was a bodyguard named Frank Alexander. Pac hated Frank. He was cool at first, but towards the end, he hated Frank because Frank always wanted to get into pictures with Tupac. And Tupac was very militant, so he was like, man, I don't want a bodyguard taking pictures with me. How is he watching my back if he getting himself in the pictures? So I hired a guy named Michael Moore and told them to bring another off-duty police officer because they kept their gun and they was real aggressive by protecting Tupac. So on the way to the fight, Reggie Wright Jr. tell Michael Moore he can't carry his weapon when he's doing bodyguard work for Tupac. Michael Moore said, well, I'm going back to the hotel. If I can't carry my gun, I can't protect myself or Tupac, so I'm not going. So Reggie Wright Jr., who nicknamed that Pac gave him Pork Butt, so Pork Butt goes and says, Frank, you can go, but you can't bring your gun. Now, everyone knows you can't be a bodyguard without a gun. So after the fight, we come from the fight. Tupac got into it with another guy. It was a big fight. After that fight, after we stopped to a few places, we go to my house. I told Frank, I told all the security, I told everyone, Pac just beat up a well-known gang member. Send 4 or 5 guys extra to the house to escort Tupac to the club. Reggie Wright Jr. refused to send the security guys, refused to show up. That wasn't a coincidence. It was a murder for hire hit. We was blocked in. It was more than one shooter. Only person know the truth, the real truth, is me and Tupac. He's not there to tell it. Only person knows is myself. But Reggie Wright Jr. tried to change the whole story of the narrative, what actually happened, and he was not there. During that situation, Snoop, who everyone knew at the time, wanted Tupac dead. Snoop had a meeting with Daz, Corrupt, Nate Dogg, the Dog Pound. Said, we're not going to Vegas. This is their words, not mine. We're not going to Vegas because basically something's going to happen. Somebody's going to get killed, right? So Corrupt tells the story. Daz tells the story. Warren G tells the story. Now, what Daz says, when Snoop said that, I said, damn, we can't go to Vegas. Who's going to get those niggas? They're already going to get guy, basically. Corrupt tells the story and says, once he tells everybody they can't go to the fight and can't go to Vegas, turns around, Nate Dogg says, I'm going to go to Vegas. Then because I'm going to Vegas, I don't got to be around basically me and Pac. He said, as long as I ain't around them, I don't have to worry about getting shot or getting a stray bullet. That lets you know, premeditated plan. Warren G says, when the fight was going on, he was watching at his house. Snoop came over to watch the fight. Snoop had a walkie-talkie. These walkie-talkies, he only got this walkie-talkie that I bought for security and the principal that security doing security with. And they worked on all the West Coast. So if you're an artist and you going to the mall or you going somewhere, they have a walkie-talkie, security have a walkie-talkie. If you're not going to an event with any of the security details, you don't have a walkie-talkie. Because I didn't buy that many because I wanted to be exclusive to hand them out who was needed. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, so Snoop comes in, according to Warren G, and he got this big walkie-talkie. They start hearing the gunshots. When we getting shot, Snoop listening to it in real time. Pow, 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 all over the radio. That's when he tell him, hey, I got to go. They just killed Tupac and shot Suge. How would you know? Nobody said that on the radio. You just heard the shots. Now, Reggie Wright Jr. and Michael Moore in the car. They get on the radio, and they say, hey, got him. Another guy hits on the radio. They say they think he's a white guy or a lawyer. And they say, hey, don't talk on the walkie-talkies on the radio. Don't talk on the air. Right? So to move things forward, maybe, I don't know if it was 6 months or longer, however it was, since I've been in this prison right here. Somebody played that for me with Michael Moore said. So when I know that attorney David Kenner always says, you can be on your cell phone and people be talking to me like, hey, don't talk on your cell phone. Somebody listening. They recorded and you can't do that. They're listening to you. So I know that's his saying. So jokingly, I told David, I said, hey, was that you on the walkie-talkie? Because that's your line. Don't talk on the phone. Now you use one saying don't talk on the walkie-talkie. So that's being said, David Kenner goes and says, Suge, I never had a walkie-talkie. I would never have a walkie-talkie. Would I need one for it? Never. So I'm saying, wow, he's so bent out of shape, but I was joking about it, right? I said, you never had a walkie-talkie? He said, that's not me talking on the walkie-talkie. I never said he was talking on the walkie-talkie. So that raised red flags. Didn't think nothing much about it. So Kenner had sent some of my boxes and files to another attorney. And another attorney got them, right? At the time, he wanted the boxes back. That didn't make sense. So when we discovered a walkie-talkie in the boxes, you know, nobody puts something in the box that they're going through the exact same way. So the walkie-talkie, my guess, probably was in one box. And when they looked at everything and reading through everything, and they was asking me about this walkie-talkie, they had put it in another box. Kenner, a guy named Steve that works for Kenner, went and grabbed the boxes from another lawyer he has it. Went and stole the wrong boxes that the walkie-talkie was in, but we still got the walkie-talkie. I said, send me a picture of it. So on my tablet, they could send photos, so they sent me a photo of the walkie-talkie. It blew me away. One part of me, it made my blood boil. Another part of me, I just seen Tupac's face flash all in my mind. I said, these motherfuckers is involved with the assassination. So I tell Kenner about it. I said, David Kenner, you said you didn't have a walkie-talkie. Now you had one. So after that, our relationship after 30-some years went cold. He went and told the judges. He started trying to pull off my case. He tried to sabotage my case. He did, and everything I'm telling you about is the proof. What we do know, money was paid out. What we do know, according to these guys, to the police, not the police actually doing the investigation, the cricket cops. The culture of hip-hop is so important, and it was so powerful. It could have been done so great. But I still stand behind what I stand behind. Frank Alexander, in tears, told me that these people was all involved. And that's why he did not perform the way he wanted supposed to perform. And if you really look at the other situation, he got interviewed by the grand jury, Frank Alexander. And he lied to him at first. He said everything started over a chain, which is a lie. He says when we walk into the MGM, Orlando Anderson tried to snatch Tupac's chain. So the next second day he go to get interviewed, he said, I got to clear up something I lied the other day. He said, why'd you lie? He said, Reggie Wright Sr. told me to say that they tried to snatch Tupac's chain, which was a lie. It's an audio of Snoop Dogg basically admitting why Tupac's dead.
We know that David Mack and the other dude with the people they put down, because they was outside the Peterson Museum after the whole shit went down.
Greg Kading, the LAPD officer we spoke to for this piece, has published a book and has a documentary about his findings. He was taken off the investigation after an internal review found him guilty of altering witness statements.
Kading should be brought up on charges for falsifying evidence.
Hey, Sharita, you ain't
Well,
that's what my friend want me on the phone now. Be nice.
No, it's on.
that was my friend too. That was my friend.
That's still your friend.
That's my friend too.
And you are on their side. You're buddies with all of them, and you're protecting them. And why
You're
can't
right.
there just be
You're
an
absolutely
investigation?
right.
So guys,
What's going on?
Greg Kading is out. His lawyer won't let him do it, so
So we've been waiting around for Kading all day, and
yeah, and now
he's not
he's a
coming.
no-show.
Really, I wanted to talk to him because there's so much to ask him.
Yeah.
If it wasn't me, I would have liked the whole scene too. But my friend knew that what was portrayed in that movie, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not even going down Kevin's line. I'm talking about Sharitha Knight. You knew for a fact that was not said in that living room.
Everywhere, big business. If you want to be successful, you want to be like Trump.
Where are Biggie and Tupac?
You got a lot to cover up, y'all.
Freudian slip.
You got a lot to cover up. We got a lot to cover up.
About 2 weeks after that, I was contacted by Reggie to go over to Santa Monica Police Department to pick up this firearm.
Hackey says he first showed the handgun to his FBI handlers and then turned it over to Reggie Wright Jr.
The common denominator on both of those is Reggie.
A month later in Las Vegas, investigators say it was a .40 Glock handgun that killed Tupac Shakur. Hackey believes the murder weapon was the same gun he gave Reggie Wright Jr.
I believe it is.
What up, Ball First family? How y'all doing? Hey, John, you got a lot to cover up, y'all. We got a lot to cover up.
Reggie knows. I know he does. Because he said some things that are weird. I said, dang, man, that's pretty sad. I said, financially, that's going to fuck some shit up. And he goes, we ain't going to be hurt for nothing.
Puffy was going up the stairs, and he said, I don't care if Tupac died, I don't care if Biggie gotta die, and I don't care if Suge gotta go to prison for the rest of his life.
We got a confession letter on how everything went down and who's responsible.
Now, getting back to Russell was following in the footsteps of his dad, and he was able to work through the LAPD and have all the things that had to be done within the LAPD. He certainly knew the streets very well, and circumstances in his case were far more tragic because he was killed in the line of duty.
Hold your head on repeat. Listen to the beat. Again and again in my playpen till Tupac appeared to me. Finally I see. How do we keep the music playing with these devils betraying? Rap games, ghost, hocus pocus flows, exposing my foes and their John Does. Mad respect, Russell Poole detect, murders checked. Now rest your head, bless the dead, while the message spreads. Machiavelli said, my killers have not yet bled.
They got to be sorry for what they did. Like I said, I had two of the toughest guys for him, and Reggie pulled them off of me. It didn't have to happen. I told him to send 5 guys from the club to there, and they never sent nobody.
Suge was set up.
I'm like, cuz, you going to Vegas? You going to Vegas, cuz? They finna try to do something to me.
I mean, murder is pretty simple. The first person you go after is the spouse.
Perez and them was all involved. They were trying to kill me too, but see, because Perez and Reg was good friends, and Perez and Sharitha and Reg is great friends, and so all those three together was trying to plot.
Why would I want a paper trail when I never brought him around nowhere? So if I'm gonna hide him in secret, you think I'm gonna let somebody catch a paper trail? They were paid cash by Snoop.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
It was a murder for hire hit.
If it was an actual shooting in Vegas, it's on camera in Vegas.
There's witnesses that said they gave no sex to kill me. So I knew it was cameras everywhere in Vegas because I went to UNLV.
All of the corners in Vegas was equipped with cameras.
Those guys, if you go back and watch the film, they was already stalking Pac, watching him. So that just tipped the iceberg when something happened. But there was a plan already to do something to him.
How come Reggie is Suge's bodyguard and he wasn't with Suge?
We went to Las Vegas Metro in '97 after Biggie was killed. I think there's got to be a connection between the two. The politicians said they don't want to solve it, so they told the investigators, put it
from the show?
I'm quite sure they saw the first one, they saw the second one, because it's the same circle of people.
You got a lot to cover up, y'all.
Freudian slip.
You got a lot to cover up.
Orlando wasn't even the shooter, you know? He was actually a good kid, too, you know?
The same guy that told them, Orlando Anderson, told them that Biggie got killed by the Southside Crips.
Technically, nobody knew about the whole thing.
No, let me just say that. No, it wasn't the discrepancy. The discrepancy is people say I called names. I didn't call names. I didn't say it was Orlando, Keefe, and all of them.
I had gotten all kind of intelligence from my informants an hour after the shooting went down.
He called me and started telling me, hey, man, you know, there was Orlando and them behind this. They got in a fight because they saw the chain, saw Orlando and all that. He says, but it's them.
I didn't know about the beatdown until a couple of days later.
Trickery, witchery, foolery, flop, plot to take out Suge and Pac. Traffic stop starts the clock. Collusion of industry, street, and cop.
LA had tricked Vegas to have they police and they people out there during that time. Some gang initiative or whatever.
Filmmaker takes one last shot. 60 seconds after, no more laughter. Half-dead whips out Fatal's Glock. Pop, pop, pop. Pop, pop, pop. Quite the head turner. They's dad came over Nate's burner. Got him on Porky Squawker. Surviving a real shocker. Fat ass said, we got a lot to cover up, y'all. And that's what's up. Stripped to straps, unloaded gats. Buntry shot back. 3 men in the caddy. Just smoked a fatty. But it wasn't Sugar Daddy.
Supposedly there's a hit on Suge.
Wounds are life-threatening, but serious, not in critical condition at this time. And the person, as you are already aware, who was the passenger in this vehicle, is a known rap performer by the name of Tupac Shakur.
All the traffic lights, all the cameras, there's no way possible anybody should got away with that.
With Tupac, I still got a 45 bullet into my skull.
We've been informed that doctors have told the family members that they expect the rap star to once again recover from his injuries.
They know who was going on behind all that stuff, you know? How much would it cost to get rid of Suge? They said, what you mean by get rid of him? He said, kill him.
They put a hit on Suge.
Reggie's dad told me that. Well, he said, Michael, if anything happened to Suge, this is what he told me. Anything happened to Suge, Reggie would run the majority of the company. It's the same people, same circle of people. It has nothing to do with me, you know? Teresa on the paper.
Oh, yeah.
And then you gonna sit here and say, who is your biggest defender, Teresa? Fuck Suge. And what Suge said. That's how I feel.
Yeah, Reggie would carry most of the burden. It come from because they want the ownership of my company.
Hey, John, you got a lot to cover up, y'all.
Doctor said Pac's on the mend.
We tried to form some security detail, at least around the floor, around his room, because they had him on the first floor.
Surrounded by friends. Foes called in to make kin spin, finish him off.
We were pissed off. I'm like, this is an assassination attempt, right? And y'all got him on the first floor near a window.
Pac shook the bed, for his life he pled.
By the time I got there, remember I was coming from LA. So by the time I got there, he had tubes in his throat, in his nose, in his mouth. So he ain't talk to me, not verbally. He was conscious. He was trying to talk. He did want to talk, but he didn't actually verbalize any words. Always, that's gonna be one of the biggest mysteries in my life, because he was trying to tell me something. He was trying so hard. He was shaking the bed. He was looking at me, with his big old eyes, and I know he was trying to tell me something, but I don't know.
IVs to the vein go straight to the brain. Poison would ease his pain. It only took a drop to make his heart stop. D.O.G. Scorsese created the distraction, lulled protectors in action for the final transaction.
The head of gangs and homicide from the Compton PD is Reggie Wright Sr. And the head of security at Death Row is Reggie Wright Jr.
The vice president on TV talking about taking my record off the shelves. Police, every time they see me, they think I'm a cop killer.
It was an assassination attempt on Suge in Las Vegas, who would have everything to gain.
Tupac and the other artists on Death Row, it turned to jealousy, and from jealousy to hate.
I don't know what kind of next tail he had, but he had the motherfucker could go that whatever it was hitting him all the way from what was going on from Vegas.
I could have jumped out on his ass in Vegas, but it was killing me. But Snoop was like, "Hold on, don't fuck this up."
They was like, we could hear the shit, and then he started getting calls and shit, and they was telling him that Tupac got shot.
He the only one knows the reason why Tupac's dead. More than me. I was in the car with him.
And I was told it was an operation. It was a planned assassination.
How come Reggie is Suge's bodyguard and he wasn't with Suge?
He wanted to be Suge Knight so bad.
Where stuff really come from, it come from because they want the ownership of my company.
Because I feel like the same people that was trying to kill Pop was trying to kill Suge. You know what I'm saying? Them bullets was coming for everything in that car.
And if I do that, I'll be putting handcuffs on Snoop.
Police did not follow up on the most basic lead.
Just happened to have officers in the right spot at the right time, were able to radio ahead.
The cops that they trying to connect to Death Row were never hired on Death Row.
He had no relationship with any police officers.
When I got shot, it was 37 cameras.
All the artists at Death Row was willing to come with me.
There's other rappers who wanted Suge taken out.
Yo, it was so much corruption in LAPD. If they would have solved Big case, LAPD would have been shut down.
I'm scared of no one. My pitch was to the record labels and to the company was to have police officers that could be good witnesses and for the inmates.
You crooked ass cop.
I didn't need to take from niggas. I was institutionalized, motherfucker. If I tell threatened by anybody, you want to know the real. Nigga would have went to jail for a long time fucking with me.
Get everything you deserve.
Perez and Sarita and Reg is great friends, and so all those three together was trying to plot.
You always attack. Those are Reggie people.
Suge didn't let none of my security ride with me. Because I feel like they finna try to do something to me.
Some guys, ex-cops, who work
Police corruption cannot exist. Cannot exist unless it is condoned and tolerated by upper police management.
Greg Kading is out. His lawyer won't let him do it.
You crooked ass cop.
Las Vegas PD is given a copy of the confession letter. They do absolutely nothing with it.
Could it be that the police department had something to do with Tupac's murder?
Coroner's hearse, idols nearby, a dear mama goodbye. Rushed autopsy, quick cremation, police celebrations. Enemies snicker, Haitian bootlicker. We the people mourn, hearts are torn. Bulk of the nation, radio stations, next generations.
And that's what happened. Our lives was in jeopardy.
Children in the hospital there, stuff wasn't right.
Situation was, me and Pac had a little falling out a day or two before that in New York.
And you don't take no ass with them like that unless something's up. Unless the goose is cooked.
Who do you think killed Tupac?
I believe Orlando Anderson killed Tupac.
Are Sharitha and Reggie Wright Jr. telling the truth? Michael Carlin doesn't think so.
Orlando wasn't even a shooter, you know? He was actually a good kid, too, you know? No, Orlando Anderson, here he is, the only Southside Crip standing in a casino. He was planetary.
Wow, the last time I saw him, he was laying in the bed, holding on to his last breath.
Yeah, John, we got a lot to cover up.
Sold cops throw shade and blame, fill the frame. Orlando's a throwaway patsy, denies the murder flatly. It's a cover-up, a chaos merchant's cover-up. Can't stop the truth from bubbling up. This shit's a cover-up.
Nobody cared about Pac having the right amount of security at all, period.
No one cared.
It was not mentioned at all.
No one cared. No, and every time I ask Reggie, he gets really defensive. Told you in the hospital there, something wasn't right.
Interfering with the Vegas case. He's a lieutenant in Compton, LAPD, whatever. Interfering with the Vegas case.
Jimmy is close personal friends with Reggie Wright Sr.
Because Pop, that weekend before he went, was talking about pulling away from the labels and starting their own.
What me and Biggie want to do is take control of distribution of rap music. I said, oh boy, do you know what you're going up against? Do you understand the organized criminal networks you're going up against and the two major ethnic groups that run it? He said, yeah, we do. I said, well, you and Biggie can't do no shit like this. He said, we're not alone. We are organizing other young rappers.
And let's go and try to be a distributor on our own. At that time, it was 6 majors, and he was trying to be number 7. I remember he was talking about calling it Lucky 7.
Said if you control distribution, you can let them have their labels, you can give them anything else they want, but control distribution. From there, you control the industry.
And we don't want that, man. It's enough brothers out here dying already.
Yeah, John, y'all got a lot to cover up. Y'all motherfuckers got Pac. Do y'all know how much that hurts our hearts?
Quail made you famous, your voice made you dangerous. Victim of jealousy, pour out your Hennessy. Death is calling me.
Stay away from Reggie Wright Jr. He is working with the feds.
In seconds, Biggie Smalls was dead, shot like Tupac in the passenger seat. According to the police, no random event, but a well-executed hit by a still unknown assailant.
What's the hateful rage for? Oh, 'cause you killed Biggie? Well, if I did, wouldn't it make you supposed to love me even more if you love Tupac?
Anybody that ever put their hands on me, I'll tell you, might not get you that day, but you're gonna get got.
Those were the various smuggling routes that the ring used to get the cocaine into the country and to get the money, some of the money back out of the country. And it depending on the year and depending on the how intense the police scrutiny was, which wasn't very for the most part. They would just fly the stuff in suitcases.